Good morning. It is Saturday. It's the 25th of January, and our reading is from 1 Samuel 26:24. In the same way that I valued your life this day, may the Lord value my life and deliver me from danger. Of course, circumstantially, He doesn't necessarily deliver us from danger, but first, do need to touch on the context here. This takes place during that period where Saul was committed to killing David. And on at least two occasions, David had the opportunity to, shall we say, sneak up on him and take his life. And in this context, he told Saul that he had that opportunity, but he chose not to, because that's not what God desired him to do. After all, as bad as Saul was, and Saul trying to kill David was right up there, God had anointed Saul as king, and God had promised that David would be king. And so David was allowing God to act and not taking things into his own hands. And the same thing is true for us, because Satan will put temptations in our path. Sometimes it's even to be consistent with God's will, but not with God's way. And when we are obedient to God's will in God's way, then we are protected from our enemies, that is, those that will attack us spiritually. An example that I frequently refer to and that I've seen is when somebody is clearly in a bad and maybe sometimes even dangerous divorce, and their Christian friends, and I'm not going to argue whether they're Christian or not, tell them God wants you to be happy, and so go ahead and get a divorce, even when there's no biblical basis for one. And doing that will not lead to less problems. If God wants them to escape from a bad marriage, He will provide a way consistent with His will and be there to carry them through the consequences. But when we decide this is what God wants because it's what we want, all bets are off. And so even David, whose life was at risk, didn't take action to protect his life, but rather let God do so. And so always focus on, who does God want me to be today, and how does He want me to do it? And He'll be there for you. And so have a secure and peaceful filled day, and I'll see you again tomorrow.